Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Agnanatimirandasya Grananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Verse 24. Ahimsaya Paramahamsya Charyaya Smritya Mukunda Charitagriya Sidhuna Yamair Akamair Niyamais Chapya Nindaya Nirihaya Dvandvatitikshaya Cha. So the previous verse actually was talking about various means. Again, Athendriya Ramad, Atrishnaya, meaning by means, by way, what needs to be done. So that is being told here. So one has to make spiritual progress first, not associate with persons who are simply interested in the sense gratification, money. Not only such people, but also persons associating with such persons should be avoided. Then mold life such that he cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the glorification of the Supreme Lord. And thus one can thus be elevated by being disgusted with the taste for sense enjoyment. So this we have to become disgusted. Why you have to become disgusted? Because this taste for sense enjoyment is animalistic. It's not for human beings. So we have to feel disgusted, saying that, oh, what is this? I'm living an animal life. But human beings are supposed to be living for higher purpose. So one has to become disgusted mm, about this taste for sense enjoyment. And Yamanacharya, so many of our acharyas have said, like gradually as we actually strictly follow devotional service, rules, principles of devotional service, we should get disgusted with taste for sense enjoyment. It doesn't mean that we become stones or we become what is the word, unsocial, meaning not fit to live in society. Not like that. We have to live in society because we have to preach. So we can't isolate ourselves from the society. But we become disgusted with sense enjoyment, and we become compassionate towards the fallen conditioned souls. That is a mode in which a devotee has to live. Mm. But if we are still not disgusted with sense enjoyment, then which means that we have still some time to go. We have to again, mantra is very simple: sincere and serious bhakti. Follow the acharyas, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. And then automatically this disgust, this distaste for sense enjoyment will come. Now there are other means by what a devotee needs to do is being explained. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent, ahimsaya, by non-violence, paramahamsya charyaya, very important, mm, by following in the footsteps of Paramahamsas. We cannot do bhakti whimsically, just like however we want. Nowadays, there are certain rules that have been created by devotees thinking they are above the great acharyas. Mm, we should not do that. We should strictly following the footsteps of great acharyas. One must follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. Must always remember the nectar of the past tense of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Smritya, uh, Smritya Mukunda Acharita Agriya. Mm, First is Smritya, then preaching his activities. Remembering and preaching, both. So remember the nectar of the past tense of the Supreme Lord. Very important. Yamaihi. Must follow the regulative principles without material desire. Yamaihi akamaihi. Without material desire, one has to follow spiritual regulative principles. And while following regulative principles, should not blaspheme others. This is very, very important. Prabhupada Niyamaihi, he is translated is it as should not blaspheme others. A devotee should lead a very simple life mm, and not be disturbed by duality of opposing elements. We should learn to tolerate them. So again, one must be non-violent. What is the meaning of non-violent? Being non-violent. Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada has explained these things. What is the meaning of non-violent? What is the meaning of violence? What is violence?
Not to disturb anybody from mind, words, and intelligence. That
Okay. Okay. It's a superficial definition. There's a very Prabhupada gives. That's why we have to read Prabhupada's books to understand these things. Anybody?
Prabhuji, non-violence here means preaching to everybody.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
interrupting or
I don't.
not being violent means not helping some on the path of spiritual progress. That is violence. Lower platform is like actual violence as we understand it. Kaya vacha manasa, disturbing somebody, troubling somebody. That is yes, that is of course required. But real violence, still, if somebody might be kaya vacha manasa very, non-violent, etc. But still he is violent if he doesn't enable one to go on the path of devotion, or if he prevents someone from going on the path of devotion, that is violence. Mm. So we have to understand. So of course we have to do this right now. What is being discussed is possibly on the lower platform, but we also have to follow the higher platform, which is to not prevent anybody's spiritual progress. Following in the footsteps of great acharyas, always remember the nectar of pastimes. We can remember the nectar of pastimes only when if we glorify. If we don't glorify, we don't have a need to remember. So preaching is important. Some form of preaching, anything, you got like now. Uh, so happy yesterday, again, so many Bhagavatam sets were distributed. Devotees went to some place and so many in our center only yesterday, some 10 Bhagavatam sets. Now, if you have to distribute Bhagavatam set, you have to glorify Krishna because who else is there in Krishna in Bhagavatam? So automatically you will remember some nectarian pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And that is the whole idea of this whole chanting process. What is the chanting process? Chanting process is first to hear the Nama, and Nama is like a link, like in website we have hyperlink. It's like a link to Rupa, Guna, Leela, etc. So automatically, if you are very nicely chanting, trying to hear very attentively, automatically when you hear the name Krishna, if you have heard about Krishna, all those things naturally should come to your mind, naturally, not that we are forcing remembrance of Krishna, naturally. How do we understand? Suppose say we like somebody. Of course, even material world, we might like somebody or we dislike somebody. Both cases, duality, right? So as soon as we think of somebody, as soon as we take the name of that person, suddenly that person's everything, like different aspects of that person, automatically comes into the mind. It's a very natural process, but it all starts with the name. Oh, this devotee. Oh, this person. Oh, then everything about that person comes to the mind. It's the same thing. Chanting is the same process. That is the reason why we have to hear attentively, because if we don't hear attentively, whose name are we taking? Simply some sound is coming out of the mouth, which has syllables like Hare Krishna, but who that person is. Only when we hear attentively do we try to connect that name to the person. Then automatically, everything about that person should come into our mind, for which we also have to hear. We have to read Krishna book, we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have to preach. Whatever we have heard, we should share with others. So Remembering nectarian pastimes, follow the regulative principles. Again, two things: follow footsteps of great acharyas, follow regulative principles without material desire. Mm. Following regulative principles without material desire. Whatever we are doing, we should just be doing for the pleasure of Krishna. Mm. Not that, like somebody came to our Udimao center yesterday and she was receiving Krishna in the form of Bhagavatam. And then she said, he came to me in Vyasasana and she said, Prabhuji, so she was receiving Bhagavatam and then she's telling me, my, something she said, my daughter has no children, please ask everybody to pray or something like that. I just gave simple answer saying Krishna is coming, he will fulfill whatever needs to be fulfilled. Right? So we should not be doing any of this for some material benefit. But of course, I mean, people are at a lower platform, at least, yeah, which is why Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarati. Okay, all desires are there. Okay, still no problem. Come to Krishna. And Krishna will take care of fulfilling whatever needs to be fulfilled. But at on a higher platform, we need to follow these principles. Okay, reading Bhagavatam. Okay, what am I going to get out of it? No, I'm going to get Krishna prema. What else do I need? So it has to be without material desire, just for the pleasure of Krishna. Because Krishna is pleased when he served in the form of Bhagavatam by being read every day. Simple. Right? And while following the regulative principle, should not blaspheme others. This is important. We've discussed this before also. A devotee should lead a very simple life. This is very, very difficult for many devotees. Lead a very simple life. And I keep saying it starts from your wardrobe. Uh, Live a simple life, why some huge collection of clothes and huge collection of this and that. And people used to ask me saying, Prabhu, shouldn't we come well dressed to the temple? I said, yes, you should be neatly dressed. I don't know what is the meaning of well dressed. mm. You have to be just simple. I don't want to get into this Mataji stuff. But Prabhu's also I've seen, some gadgets and this and that and all. I mean, just complicating life. And many Matajis I see are just very focused on their dress and what they wear and lipstick and this and that. This is not required for a devotee. A devotee should not be bothered about how he looks. He has to be presentable so that, to preach, we should not be like unpresentable to people. We should not be repulsive in the way we have dressed or whatever, right? We have to be in Vaishnava clothes. We should live a simple, right? And whatever possessions we have also, it is not, we should not try to increase it. We should just let it be what it is, or it should be simplified. For example, if you're sleeping on a cot, if you don't have any problem, put a mattress on the ground and sleep. Simple life. Mm. And not to be disturbed, not be disturbed by duality of opposing elements. Every moment there are dualities in this material world. Every moment should not be disturbed. We should learn to tolerate them. How do we learn to tolerate them? We learn to tolerate them by remembering that we are not the body. Krishna 2.14 only he spoke. Antras parshasta kondaya sitoshna sukha tam sthiti kshasva. The devotees are actually saintly persons or sadhus. The first qualification of the sadhu or devotee is ahimsa, non-violence. Persons interested in the path of devotional service must first practice ahimsa or non-violence. A sadhu is described as titikshava karunikaha. A devotee should be tolerant and should be very much compassionate, towards others. This is what we have to do. For example, if he suffers personal injury, he should tolerate it. But if someone else suffers injury, the devotee need not tolerate it. Of course, this is in connection with other devotees, or even, yeah, we should not go too much into this, let me uphold the rights of others, not that kind of stuff, right? This is all in connection with spiritual life. Yeah, and if some injustice is happening, mm, we can do, but we shouldn't get too involved in that, right? Because then our whole direction will change. I know of some devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, and then they went into this cow protection and they stopped doing bhakti. We have to be very careful. We have to always remember Bharat Maharaj. Our main business is to do bhakti. right? And of course, Krishna loves cows, so we can try to do, but we also have to understand that we are in a time and situation and world situation where many of these things are not so easy to be done. So we should not lose the main focus. Mm. The whole world is full of violence. See, and devotees' first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. A devotee is a friend not only of a human being but of all living entities, for he sees all living entities as sons of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Now, to create this atmosphere, we need Bhagavatam. That is why Bhagavatam says that it will revolutionize the lives of people. Now, if somebody has to stop violence, if we just go and fight like normal other, karmis or other people of this world, it's not going to help because that they have been trying for so long. No, the best way is to actually distribute Bhagavatam. Hmm. But yeah, of course, also Shastra says Pashugna, one who is killer of animals. Actually, he doesn't even have enough mercy to receive Srimad Bhagavatam. But somehow devotees have to take the devotional path to solve these problems. Once Prabhupada was in Hyderabad and there's a drought. So some government people came to Prabhupada thinking, oh, like foreign country is coming, he has a lot of money, saying that give us relief funds. Prabhupada said no. Prabhupada said we'll do Sankirtan. And they did Sankirtan and there was rain. So these problems, we should not take a worldly approach. We should take a devotional approach to all this. And solution to all problems is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because we can't ask these people to chant because they won't be so uh, pious. Somehow we should just convince them to receive Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. And that will change. That will change the face of the world. He does not claim himself to be the only Son of God and allow all others to be killed, thinking that they have no soul. This is all Christian philosophy. This kind of philosophy is never advocated by a pure devotee of the Lord. Suhrada Sarvadehinam. A true devotee is the friend of all living entities. And again, friend means encouraging, enabling the progress on the path to achieve perfection. Krishna claims in Bhagavad Gita to be the father of all species of living entities. Consequently, the devotee of Krishna is always a friend of all. This is called ahimsa. Such non-violence can be practiced only when we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. And we have live our immediate Acharya Prabhupada. He practiced this non-violence, isn't it? Otherwise, why did he have to go at the age of 70 to the West to take up so much inconvenience? Just because he was friendly to all living beings, compassionate. Therefore, according to our Vaishnava philosophy, we have to follow the great acharyas of the four sampradayas. Trying to advance in spiritual life outside the disciplic succession is simply ludicrous. It is said, therefore, Acharyan Purusho Veda. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who follows the disciplic succession of acharyas knows things as they are. Chandogya Upanishad. Tad Vignanartham Sa Gurume Vabhigachet. In order to understand the trend, Tad Vignanartham, that science. And what is that science? Transcendental science about the Supreme Lord, about the Advaya Tattva, absolute truth. One must approach the bona fide spiritual master. The word smritya is very important in spiritual life. Smritya means remembering Krishna always. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Smartavya, yeah, this is the word. Smartavya satatam Vishnu. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. We should live in Krishna so that while eating, sleeping, walking, working, we remain only in Krishna. Sorry, life should be molded in such a way that one cannot remain alone without thinking of Krishna even for a moment. That's the whole idea. Even for a moment means irrespective of whether we are doing eating, sleeping, walking, working, whatever, we should always remain in Krishna. What does in Krishna mean? We should always be conscious about Krishna. We cannot be, of course, when we are working, we cannot be constantly thinking about Krishna. But we can always have a mindset that whatever I'm working is for his pleasure, meaning I'm going to get the outcome, which is the money, and use it for his pleasure. Why am I eating? Not for sense gratification, so that I can keep the body in a healthy condition. So that I can serve Krishna. Sleeping, why am I sleeping? Just to bring my body back into functional condition, etc., etc. So in everything that we do, it should be for Krishna. That is a Krishna conscious life. Our Krishna conscious society recommends that we arrange our living so that we can remember Krishna. See, we have to arrange our life so that we can remember Krishna. And that is why that Sharanagati principles, 6 principles, right? Anukulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varjanam. Especially these two. These are the arrangements we have to make. These are the principles for how we have to mold our life. Anukulyasya sankalpaha. Whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, we should accept. Pratikulyasya varjanam. Whatever is unfavorable has to be rejected. And that way we have to mold our life so that we can always remember Krishna. Hmm? In our Krishna ISKCON society, the devotees, while engaged in making spiritual sky incense, of course, at that time, devotees were making this agarbatti. They are also hearing about the glories of Krishna, his devotees. See, Prabhupada is writing. So, when we are doing any seva, we should not be blank in our heads. Because if we remain blank, then all unnecessary things will come into our mind. Right? We should be hearing. So that when we are hearing constantly, then it is only things about Krishna, Krishna's instructions that we are hearing. Then the mood will also be devotional. Then we will remember Krishna and we are doing some incense or we are doing some garlands. It has to be in remembrance of Krishna, for Krishna. The Shastra recommends Smartavyaha Satatam Vishnu. Smartavyaha, remember Satatam all the time Vishnu. Lord Vishnu should be remembered always, constantly. Vismartavyo na jatu chit. Vishnu should never be forgotten. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the spiritual way of life. Smritya. This remembrance of the Lord can be continued if we hear about him constantly. It is therefore recommended in this verse, Mukunda Charitagraya Sidhuna. Sidhu means nectar. To hear about Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or similar authentic literature is to live in Krishna consciousness. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. Pibata, drink. Rasamalayam. The house of nectar. House of rasa. Bhagavatam is house of rasa. So we have to drink Krishna consciousness. We have to drink this nectar by doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. To do that, to hear, is to live in Krishna consciousness. Of course, it also means that it's not that we are Krishna conscious only when we are hearing. Gnanam Vignanam Saitam. So we have to hear and then we have to apply. So which is why our whole focus in reading Prabhupada's purports is to understand the practical aspect of these wonderful statements, right? Such concentration in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by persons who are strictly following rules and regulatory principles. How many times? I mean, in this chapter only, I think we've heard this strictly follow rules. Second time this is, at least as far as I remember. And then my question is, when Prabhupada is being so clear, why is it that we don't want to strictly follow rules? Why is it we say it's okay? Who has given us the right to say it's okay? Or who has given us the right to say, no, no, this is what Prabhupada gave, but I will change it? Nobody has given us the right. Nah? So this is also Guru Ravagya. We are going against Srila Prabhupada is Guru Ravagya. Nama Parad. So being conventional and just simply sticking to whatever Prabhupada is given is safe. It's just safe. Because he is our founder Acharya. Prabhupada actually, once he was very upset somewhere. His name was not mentioned. It was just said ISKCON. He was very upset. He said, no, you have to put the name of the founder Acharya. Why Prabhupada? Was Prabhupada egoistic that he was saying that? No, because he knew what would happen in the future. People would forget him. So he made it a point wherever there is any publication, anything being done, founder Acharya's name has to be there. Uh, his, his Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. And he is the one who has laid down the rules. Nobody who is a strict follower of Srila Prabhupada will change these rules. Nobody will change. So ideally, we cannot have different standards in ISKCON, ideally, because whatever has been given by Prabhupada has to be followed. We have recommended in our Krishna consciousness movement that a devotee chant 16 rounds and beats daily and follow the regulative principles. That will help the devotee be fixed in his spiritual advancement in life. Simple. We have argument, difference in opinion about what actually are these regulative principles. Of course, three of them are very clear, right? But this illicit sexual relationship is there's a lot of debate about it. Some devotees say it's okay to use between husband and wife to use contraceptives. No, but Prabhupada clearly says that it's not allowed. But then because we can't come to that standard, it's difficult. Yeah, it is difficult. Let us understand, but let's not bend the principle. Let's understand saying that, okay, I'm in a fallen state. I need more mercy to come to that state. But we can't just change the principle. The principle is clear that I'm not able to follow. That's my fallen condition. But this is what happens, because we're not able to follow something, then we just dilute it, saying that no, this is okay. We don't have the right to do it. Nobody has given us the authority to do it. So only if we follow these principles can we remain fixed. And see, what is fixed? Fixed means just nishtha. Nishtha is a very preliminary stage of bhakti. Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nivritti nishtha. Anartha nivritti is all this nonsense will go only when we follow regulative principles. And regulative principles doesn't mean only the four regulative principles. Regulative principles are many. Not eating non-prasadam, regulative principle. Not, going to whatever, entertainment, going to movies, cinema, mall, this, that, for sense gratification, regulative principle. Otherwise, how can we remain fixed? Fixed means all the time. So here it says, smartavya satatam Vishnu. You have to remember Krishna all the time, which means we are to remain fixed in spiritual life. That is not possible if we do sense gratification. And that is the reason we have been given regulative principles. Niyamagraha. It is also stated in this verse that one can advance by controlling the senses. Yamaihi. See, again. By controlling the senses, one can become a Swami or Goswami. One who is therefore enjoying this super title, super title. Swami or Goswami must be very strict in controlling his senses. Indeed, he must be master of his senses. This is possible when one does not desire any material sense gratification. If by chance the senses want to work independently, he must control them. Oh, see, this is so important statement. If by chance. For us, it's not by chance, it's by design. Right? By design, we only desire that the senses work independently and does some non-devotional activity. But actually, it should be that we are not actually interested in this, but by chance, meaning by our previous vasanas, our, whatever is there in our mind from our previous lives, something might just crop up suddenly and distract us, disturb us. But still, one must try to control. If we simply practice avoiding material sense gratification, controlling the senses is automatically achieved. What is the central theme here? Avoiding. What does avoiding mean? What should we do? Avoiding. Anybody?
Refrain or stop.
Okay, but how do we do that?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, not giving too much importance.
Okay, how do we do that?
By engaging in devotional service.
Very important. Very important. We can't say that I'm going to be sitting at home and then I'm going to avoid this movie or something else or this or that. No, that is not possible. That is all. That's not the path of bhakti. That's the path of jnana. Like severe austerities which are practiced intentionally. That's not for this yuga. We can't do that. That is the reason Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinah. Rasavajam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva. So this material sense gratification will be avoided when senses are gratified, but devotional on the devotional platform. And this is what we call dovetailing initially. Initially we dovetail our senses. Okay, my senses want to eat something very nice. Okay, let me eat only prasadam. But that's not the entire life. It's not our whole life. We should just engage in eating, okay, I want this, I want that. No, at some point of time, we should, if we have actually honored prasadam, initially, yeah, we have this desire for eating nice food and we only accept prasadam, but we should honor prasadam, meaning we should remember this prasadam is the mercy of the Lord. Then what happens when we actually accept it as mercy of the Lord? We become purified. Then eventually this desire for eating, happening stuff, nice stuff will go off. Then we are saying, okay, it is prasadam. Okay, no salt. Okay, no problem. We were so foolish that we offered something to Krishna without salt. Okay, let me also eat like that. Then controlling the senses is automatically achieved. What are we doing? We are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. Then there's no question of sense gratification. Hmm. But we have to avoid as much as possible. Mm, because our senses are we are very weak. We don't have the strength to control our senses. Because we lived a life of sense gratification for many lifetimes. So any little push in that direction, we might get caught. So we have to be very, very careful. Some cases we have to simply avoid. We might have to simply avoid. For example, we're not supposed to eat something outside, and we just avoid those places. But then, if you have devotional engagement, it's very easy. You don't have time for all that. Another important point mentioned in this connection is anindaya. We should not criticize others' methods of religion. Prabhupada is specifically saying there are different types of religious systems operating under different qualities of material nature. So he's saying religion is also under the guna. Those operating in the modes of ignorance and passion cannot be as perfect as that in system in the mode of goodness. The Bhagavad Gita, everything has been divided into 3 qualitative divisions. Therefore, regulative religious systems, faith, are similarly categorized. When people are mostly under the modes of passion and ignorance, their system of religion will be of the same quality. The devotee, instead of criticizing such systems, will encourage the followers to stick to their principles so that gradually they can come to the platform of religion in goodness. For example, there is one person, auto driver, who brings prasadam for us from our temple to center. He is born in a Muslim family. So we just encourage him to get engaged in this seva. And every time he brings prasadam, he takes packet of prasadam. We make sure that he takes a packet of prasadam. So let him follow whatever he's following. Slowly he'll come to the platform of goodness. So we should encourage everybody somehow. Krishna, that's why in Bhagavad Gita he says that we should not disturb those people whose work is not on the higher platform. That is the art of preaching. The art of preaching is to just let them do what they are doing, but somehow connect them to Krishna. Simply by criticizing them, a devotee's mind will be agitated, and then it will also not serve the purpose. We criticize somebody, then their chances of them coming to bhakti will become even bleak. Because they look at a devotee and say, what is this? I don't want to be like this, criticizing other people. Or, they'll just they don't want to talk to us. So we lost that opportunity to preach. Thus, a devotee should tolerate and learn to stop agitation. Of course, it might also be, so Prabhupada is saying that religion means, somebody might be doing something totally wrong. Still, we should not be agitated. We should understand they are doing something wrong because they are under the lower modes. We should tolerate and somehow try to see how we can bring that person to Krishna consciousness. Another feature of the devotee is nirihaya, simple living. Nirihaya means gentle, meek, or simple. All the three words are important. A devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate a materialistic person. Straight instruction. Should. Please understand, whenever Prabhupada is using this word should, will, may, okay, then if he says may, if somebody may do it, okay, then he's given an option. But should means no option, no alternative. Devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate materialistic persons. So we are living in a society and we are competing with materialistic people. But Bhagavatam beginning only says, this is for Nirmatsaranam, those who are not envious of others, those who are not competing with others. Plain living and high thinking are recommended for a devotee. Simple statement, plain living. We don't have to be so, extravagant, gorgeous, this, that, and all that. That's why Bhagavatam says, right? Jive labho jiveta yavata. Jivasya tattva jignasa. Labho jiveta yavata. Why are we living? Just to keep body and soul together. Self-preservation. Plain living. Just live. Just you have to be alive to do devotion. But thought process has to be high on the platform of the soul, in the platform of devotion. That is the higher platform, highest platform. He should accept only so much as he needs. See, same thing. To keep the material body fit for execution of devotional service. He should not eat or sleep more than is required. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya. Everything has to be yukta, as much as is required only. Simply eating for living and not living for eating. Some people say, I'm just living because I want to eat. No, I eat so that I can live, I can be alive. And sleeping only 6 to 7 hours a day are principles to be followed by devotees. Direct again. Again, one more instruction. As long as the body is there, it is subjected to the influence of climatic changes, disease, and natural disturbances. Threefold miseries of material existence. We cannot avoid them. Sometimes we receive letters from neophyte devotees questioning why they have fallen sick although pursuing Krishna consciousness. I was in this stage 10 years back, 12 years back. I suffered a big setback on my health and I was asking the same question. Why am I falling sick? I'm following Krishna consciousness. I'm doing all this. They should learn from this word that they have to become tolerant. Vandvati Tikshaya. It took me 13 years and still I'm struggling. This is the world of duality. One should not think that because he has fallen sick, he has fallen from Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness can continue without impediment from any material opposition. Yesterday, one devotee didn't come to our center. Then I messaged saying that, "Prabhu, what happened?" He said, I'm very badly constipated. That should not prevent us from coming to Krishna. Or somebody has fought in the house. That should not actually, in fact, those are reasons why they should come to Krishna. So no material situation can become an impediment, obstacle. Lord Krishna therefore advises Tam Stitikshastu Bharata. Please try to tolerate all these disturbances. Be fixed in your Krishna conscious activities. This is the key. This is Nishta. This is Nishta. Remaining fixed. Again, Bhagavatam. Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Nishtha Bhakti. Nishtha means being fixed in Krishna conscious activities, not falling down, not coming down on our practices. To be able to do that, we have to tolerate. We have to tolerate everything. Our mind, body, our material situation, money, relations, work, Whatever is there to trouble us on the material platform, we should tolerate everything, our body, our mind, everything. Only then we can remain fixed. Of course, I've also seen some devotees go very extreme and then they become indifferent towards their duties. We have to be very careful. If there are other people in the house which who are also devotees, we don't become, like insensitive towards them, because we are not insensitive towards other devotees. Then why are we insensitive towards people in the house who are also trying to become devotees in the name of Krishna consciousness? So we have to understand it is all for our spiritual progress. If we are tolerating others, then it will help us make progress. If we are tolerating our own body and mind, it will help us make progress, because we are not the body, we are not the mind. Very nice set of instructions. If you can simply follow, even like I keep saying, even one line in Bhagavatam can change our life. Okay, stopping here. Any questions, comments? Anything? All okay? Okay, then we'll close here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे